Hi guys, this is Fernando doing a very short video for the modern survivalists. In this case, replying to a question that I got on the channel. It says, a question about location. Hi Fernando, I love your videos and I'm currently reading your book. My book is the Modern Survival Manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse, link somewhere over here. So thanks for the really great information. I live in England and I'm glad that you have found shelter in the UK from some of the awful things you have described in Argentina. I recently watched your video on relocating and some of the reasons you choose Northern Ireland. Great video. I'm a little concerned for you, however, in the event that Britain and Argentina once again lock horns over the Falkland Islands. Being an Argentine national, you may be imprisoned or asked to leave the country. Presumably, you would be going to Spain. Well, first of all, I'm going to be stopping here and replying to this. Besides being an Argentine national, I am also a Spaniard citizen, right? I'm a European Union citizen as well. I have every single right every other European Union citizen has. So I don't like using the word never or impossible, but it's basically impossible to have a problem in that way, because it would be violating all the agreements with the European Union and every other nation, especially with Spain, which I'm a citizen from. It would be violating all that. Besides that, there's the simple facts, unavoidable physical fact, exactly, of Argentina fighting a war against anyone. It's simply impossible. There's no way in which Argentina can fight a war against anyone, let alone UK. It cannot fight a war against its neighbors, its South American neighbors, let alone can fight a war against UK. It's just impossible. And I'm going to be explaining this in a second. Why is that? Well, in the first war that took place in Argentina, we had a military dictatorship. The famous junta. The junta was a military dictatorship that kidnapped innocent people. They were murdered. Thousands of innocents killed, tortured, disappeared, as they later described. Awful, awful. At the same time, and we have to be honest about this, there was a sector, a leftist sector in Argentina that was extremely violent as well. The junta was fighting some of these guys and killing lots of innocent people in the process. But these guys weren't exactly little innocent choir boys. They would bomb schools, kindergarten. They killed children. They kidnapped businessmen and for ransom as well. So they were terrorists because they spread terror and attacked innocent people. Now, when the military junta, when the dictatorship finished after the war, and we later have a bit of democracy going on, and after 2001, who came to power in Argentina? Those who took power in Argentina after 2001 were these same guys who the military junta once fought. These were the guys, the Montoneros guys. These were the leftists that were quite a bit violent themselves. One of the first things they did when they took power it was time for payback, and one of the first things they did, and they made a political policy out of this. They dismantled the military of Argentina. They destroyed the military in Argentina. They reduced their budgets beyond reason. They sold military equipment. They sold the machinery the military factories had. They dismantled the Argentine military completely, or as best as they could. Argentina was in a much better position to fight a war back the first time. It's 100 times worse now. There's knowledge of not being enough ammunition in Argentina, in the Argentine military depots, to fight a war for more than 12 hours. All right? After 12 hours, the Argentine military would run out of ammunition. There's no modern weaponry. There's even a lack of small arms. Most of it got sold during very corrupt procedures to many parts of the world, and in some cases to USA, where they liked the FAL, the Argentine rifle. The few small arms that got imported just are not enough. There's really nothing to fight a war with, guys. It's simply, you might as well wish for $1 million or wish to fly. It's just one of those things. There's no way in which it's even possible. Let alone they basically don't have small arms, modern small arms. Let alone they have any other military equipment to do anything at all. Impossible. I think that while the first time the situation was that the military junta was looking for a way of disguising the problems that were going on in Argentina, I think that this time the UK politicians and media used this as an excuse, as a way to disguise the local problems as well, and problems all over Europe, and focus attention elsewhere, we could say. I think that this time that's what happened. Right, but it's seriously impossible to fight a war. You might as well invade, I don't know, the Vatican, and then again, the claims of Malvinas being made by Argentina. You also have Spain doing claims over Gibraltar, and no one's talking here about UK fighting Spain, and Spain does have a very serious army. They are quite capable of fighting a war. Spain, they have a good military. No one's talking about that. No one's worried about that. And you're honestly worried about Argentina. Man, it's I get it that lots of people here in the UK don't they have no reason to know all this information, but I'm telling it what it is, and a little bit of Googling will show all this and confirm all this. Argentina is in no shape whatsoever to fight, because we've had 10 years of military dismantling and destruction of the military forces in Argentina in every possible way. It was something that the Kirchner government made sure of, to destroy and do payback to the Argentine military. Impossible. Despite the media recent hype, I don't think it's very likely that we will have another war with Argentina. No, it's the media hype is just that, again, ways of taking the attention of our problems, but really not serious. My question is really whether you consider this when choosing UK as your new home. Did I consider this? No, when I came here, there was nothing of this going on. This started mostly because I think it was because they sent a nuclear submarine over there, and that was kind of, and then they sent other stuff as well, and that's kind of got it rolling. But nothing of this was happening back when I came here. There was no mention of any kind of a problem whatsoever when I first came here, and nothing at all. I agree with the reasons you have in your video for choosing Northern Ireland. Low population, good education. Is re-escalation of the Falklands a reason you didn't consider England? No, really not. And again, in spite of the war, Argentina and England have always have a great relationship. I mean, I remember when we had kids, our schools, my school back in Argentina, we would take students from England that came to Argentina visiting, mostly to play rugby and such. They would stay in our homes. I had an English kid staying in my place, and then our students would go to England and stay in family houses over there every single year. So it's the kind. If you trust these countries, one another, trust each other with their children, with their small children, you can imagine what kind of relationship they have. Right, I think it's mostly a thing of media and politicians, not something of the people, honestly. But no, I didn't keep that in mind, because nothing was going on, and even now I don't think I know for a fact that there's thousands of Argentines all over UK, especially in London. No one has a problem whatsoever, even going to Argentina, unless you go to some of the more dangerous places where in Buenos Aires, where anything gets you shot, especially waving around an English flag and insulting people. That may get you shot as well, because that's the way it is over there. But I don't think it's much of a problem, honestly, especially among people, among the citizens. Again, I chose the Northern Ireland because of the low population, because of how safe it is over here. There's still a bit of the shadows of the trouble. Some people think that Northern Ireland is very dangerous, when it's in fact one of the safest places in all UK, safer than England, even safer than Scotland, which is not that bad. Honestly, there's really very little crime going on here, and it's the type of crime that most cases you can avoid, unless you are politically involved in some of the more extreme factions here in Northern Ireland. You really have a serious organized hit against you. It's extremely unlikely. So I hope that answers pretty much the question. Talk with my neighbors here, with my friends. No one has a problem with this of any kind. Guys, take care. I hope this answered the question. See you in our next video. Have a good day.